And that leads us to the main event, of course, Rich. And we've got Grant Dawson, KGD. King Grant Dawson is what that stands for. I heard this week in the UFC preview, taking on Bobby King Green. There can be only one king. Who is going to wear the crown on Saturday night, Rich? We'll kick it to you first, my man.
Yeah, nothing too profound to say, man. I'm staying away. Dawson should get his grappling going, should get his takedowns. I just hate the guy, man. So it's hard to bet on him. Probably gets a submission, but the number's shit. So I'd be more inclined to bet the KO on the Dawson side and hope, it's just a matter of like an accumulation of takedowns and he gets it in round 3, 4, 5. When Bobby's just like, this is bullshit. I'm already getting paid. Fuck it, and just tries to find a way out of there. But yeah, the number's shit on the sub, so you can't play it, man. But yeah, I've really got nothing, bro, to be honest, on this one. It's just a shit main event. It shouldn't be happening. But there's that argument. Would you prefer to have more cards and shit fights on it, or better fights and less cards in the year? I'm one of the people who wants a card every weekend, so it is what it is. But yeah, this main event's a bit bullshit for me. I'm not really interested, man.
The spot I'm looking at here is Grant Dawson inside the distance. I like Bobby Green. If you guys have listened to my content for a long time, I'm a fan of Bobby Green. I bet him a number of times. But for me, I was out on Bobby Green after the Drew Dober fight, because I bet him in that spot. And guys, I think comprehensively, Bobby Green's a better fighter than Drew Dober. I believe that's in my core. You watch that fight, y'all tell me differently, right? I think that you watch and you see the minutes, the progressions, who's winning every combination, every series. It was Bobby Green. And then he got knocked out by a huge punch from Drew Dober. And that for me was where I was like, oh, if Bobby can't take the punches anymore, his style's not going to work, because he does a lot of baiting people to hit him. He does a lot of shoulder roll and whatever. Jared Gordon, I thought, was cleanly winning some exchanges against Bobby Green in the boxing. And I bet him as an underdog there. And then the head clash happens. And unfortunately, our guy, Jared Gordon, was not blessed with the world's greatest chin. That's just not how he was dealt his cards. So he goes out off the head clash. Okay. But now we look at this and I'm like, this is a spot where Grant Dawson is 8-0-1 in the UFC. I bet on him in the one draw, I bet against him in the one draw, right? So I've looked for my opportunities to get against Grant Dawson because he was training with Krause. He's training, with lower level guys. He's gassing out in his fights. I didn't trust his 3-round cardio. I bet Leo Santos against him as well, Rich. Why? Leo Santos, 41 years of age. Everybody would dismiss him, but he's a jiu-jitsu world champion. And the way I structured my bets on that fight was that I had Leo Santos inside the distance, Leo Santos round 1, Leo Santos round 2, and Grant Dawson round 3, plus 1,200. The only bet that cashed, Grant Dawson with the hammer fist at the bell sends his mouthpiece flying. It's one of the greatest knockouts that you'll see in the UFC, in my opinion. I was going bananas when that was happening. Grant Dawson fought brutally to the finish, like just never let the guy off the hook. And that was a really difficult fight for him against a guy who was really competent in the area where he wants to impose his will. You know who else is really competent there? Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon's a really difficult guy to submit. He's a Renzo Gracie brown belt, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if I'm wrong, right? I haven't checked into Jared's credentials, but he was a brown belt for a long time, so he could have gotten his black belt. In any case, he's a very good grappler. Not easy to get one over on. We've seen other guys really struggle trying to leverage a grappling game plan against Jared Gordon. Not him. He was able to do it. Jared Gordon typically has a great cardio. He was able to get him in round 3. Grant Dawson wouldn't have been able to do that until he moved to American Top Team. When he moved to American Top Team, he's gotten a lot better. Take that for whatever it's worth. He's gotten a lot better in a number of ways. I think in part it's because he's got better training partners. I also mentioned several times this week, and I think it's true, that of the bromance between him and Thiago Moises, of that friendship, the buddy cop dynamic that they have, I think Grant Dawson is benefiting so much more. Thiago Moises, he's got that problem, in my opinion, where he just can't take pressure very well. Grant Dawson applies pressure better than most people do. He gets a hold of you and he makes you tired, he makes you uncomfortable, and he makes you want to quit. And I think that Bobby Green has good grappling. He's got decent fundamental skills. And I thought that for that reason, he was at least going to extend Islam Makhachev into the second round, the third round. I was like, Bobby is going to be out physical here. He's going to be out technique, but he's going to keep it competitive. And he didn't. And you know what happened that just threw me off was that after that fight, after the TKO, Islam picks him up with his hand and Bobby and him just walk around the octagon arm to arm. It was like Bobby couldn't care less that he lost. You know, I want my guy to be more pissed than me when they lose the fight, because if they're not, I bet on the wrong person. And Daniel, you better watch your mouth, brother, because you are a troll, brother. And Sean Brady will put you in a guillotine, grit and guillotines, my brother. Come find out what Irish Jiu-Jitsu is all about. But in any case, I think that what we need to pay attention to here is the fact that Grant Dawson on a huge win streak, very productive as a UFC favorite. Who has not been productive in their role as a UFC underdog? Bobby King Reed. He has not been turning you a great profit. He's not been performing very admirably in that role. He's actually done better as a favorite in the UFC. So I look at this spot as a Grant Dawson win. I do think he's going to finish Bobby Green in this fight. I don't like what I've seen from Bobby on the ground in recent fights. I do think there was a time when this would have been much more competitive. Bobby Green, good scrambler, dynamic movements. I don't know that he has the same fire, the same hunger that we used to see from him. And so for that reason, give me Grant Dawson. Give me Grant Dawson inside the distance. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the first couple rounds either, because that's kind of what we've seen from Bobby. When he gets finished, it tends to be earlier on in the fight. So for me, Grant Dawson here is the side. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, you make some good points there, man, that are making me think and pushing me on a bet on Dawson. Bobby's been paid in his last few fights. He certainly got paid for the Islam fight on was it short notice, the Islam fight? I can't remember.
That's a good question. I think it was put together on short notice, or maybe boosted to the main event on short notice. Let me check what that was.
Yeah, nevertheless, he's been paid, man. And Bobby's all like ego and flashy about the money, paying his baby mamas, buying another fucking chain to put around his neck. So I think a guy like Bobby, when he gets paid, man, that's just like, you know, it's hard to go running when you're sleeping in silk sheets, they say. And I think that definitely applies to him. So I can see that, man. Maybe he gets taken down in round 1 or 2 and he's just like, you know, fuck it, I'm getting paid anyway. And yeah, you're too nice to say it, but yeah, all them motherfuckers at ATT are on the steroids, man. Steroids have never been more prevalent in the UFC. I don't know what the fuck Nowitzki's doing, but you know, he hands out a jacket now and again to the likes of fucking Max Holloway every couple of months, and we're supposed to think that, you know, he's doing his job. Yeah. So I do think Dawson's on the sauce. And yeah, man, you're convincing me to put a bet in here.
You know, I don't love the money line price. Like, it's pretty cost prohibitive. But I do think he's going to win ITD. So I'm looking at a couple of those things here. I just think when I look at this fight on paper, Bobby has some path later on in the fight. Like I said, I've seen Grant Dawson slow down in the past, but I feel like he's just improved that a lot. And he's getting training partners now that could really resist him on the ground. One problem I think he was having was that he was the best guy in his room by a lot. So he was just beating everybody's ass. And like that can do something for you, but it can't do everything. Chael Sonnen always says you need guys that can push you, guys that whip you, and guys you could whip, because that's how you really get better. You need to get humbled by the guys that can whip you. You need to whip on some guys to get some confidence, and you need people that can really push you and give you that full go so you can get your progressions. And I think that is what I want to see from a guy like Grant Dawson in this fight. I want to see him show signs of improvement. I considered playing Grant Dawson by KO in this fight because of what we saw in the Islam fight, where Bobby kind of just shelled up and positionally was just covering a little bit. And that I could see, you know, Grant Dawson gets to good positions. A lot of times he does it with the back, with the body triangle. But I don't know. I just have a feeling like Bobby Green would probably rather lose via TKO than via sub. That's a gut feeling for me, but I don't think he's going to want to hit him with that little tap on the rear naked choke. I think he'd rather, you know, go out fighting, but personal opinion. In any case, yeah. Any closing thoughts from you, Rich?
Yeah, I do also agree, man. I think them days of Dawson, you know, flaking like in the Santos fight and getting tired, I do think them days are over, man. It is amazing what these steroids can do, or EPO, whatever the fuck he's on. So, yeah, I do think them days are over, man. That's all I was going to add.
Yeah, and I don't mean any criticism by this. Any of the guys from ATT, if you want to send something my way, hey, sure, I'll sample it for you. I'll let people know it's an effective product. I'm kidding, of course. But in any case, guys, I tend to agree. I think there's something special in the water over at ATT. They're doing a great thing. They're producing a lot of great fighters. So for me, fun fight, good scrap, but it's not the best UFC on paper. Good betting opportunities along the way. I think you got to pick your spots here, and I think there is value on the table. So I'm excited. I'm glad that you guys joined us. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure you go ahead and drop a like. If you have questions, comments, or concerns about things that we discussed on the show, if you're more curious, go ahead and drop those comments in the comment section below. Try and answer as many of them as possible before showtime tomorrow. So guys, 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, UFC's getting rolling. Make sure that you tune in that dial, and hopefully you guys all win some money, whether you tail fade or you're indifferent. We're wishing you the best of luck. Rich, why don't you let the people know where they can find all the great work that you're doing?
Yeah, check me out on Twitter, man. Just Win Baby. Got a Patreon going. It's only something like $10 a month or something. We've got a nice Discord group. I'm going to do a promo for November. Don't know what yet. Still thinking about it. But yeah, if you want to check out the bets, join up, man.
Love it. And guys, if you're looking for more information, you can always find it in the description box below, both for my guest and for myself. My name's Liam. You can find me picking fights on this channel each and every week, putting out some, feelers to do some long form content as well. So if you guys have long form content ideas for me, go ahead and throw those in the comment section as well. But I'm planning to do a longer form video about the James Krause situation, everything that we know, everything that's public information, tying up some loose ends, trying to look for some confirmed rumors in the background as well. So if that's the kind of stuff that you're interested in, make sure you fire off your comments, because this is a viewer-driven platform. I talk a lot about these fights because I know that's what you guys are interested in, but we saw a lot of traction when I was talking about the Krause situation on the channel, and a lot of people are interested in where that is at right now, myself included. So anything where we have coalesced interest, I would be happy to make content about it. So make sure that you subscribe if you're not already. We're talking fights on this channel each and every week. God bless you all. Enjoy the fights. Until next time, come back and we'll have all the same fun again. Take care, everybody.